And we bring everybody back in for our Xfinity look around the league because there was obviously a lot of talk, as we know, about who could potentially be on the move. We did see a lot of marquee names that did trade places. Right. Obviously, with the Giannis staying in Milwaukee, that shifted some things and forced the hand for some teams like Golden State to pursue other avenues. So let's take a look at some of the big trades. I think the biggest in the Eastern Conference certainly is James Harden going from LA to Cleveland. Vucevic going to Boston from Chicago is huge. Jaren Jackson Jr. Now out from the Grizzlies. He joins the Jazz. I mentioned basically, Golden State kind of had to pivot. Once they knew they weren't going to get Giannis, they go and get Kristaps Porzingis. Kobe White goes to the Hornets. They've got a really good team now. Down at the bottom, Anthony Davis and Trae Young, they will be future teammates against tonight's opponent, the Washington Wizards. Jose Alvarado, kind of a sneaky pickup for the Knicks. Jared McCain, the rich get richer. He goes from Philly to OKC. And then Zubats, another late one, as Indiana looks to get healthy and to get themselves back in contention. They get Zubats from the Clippers. So let's get into the Harden to Cleveland, because Cleveland already has a very nice roster. Yep. Kenny Atkinson has at his disposal, but him now paired with Donovan Mitchell, a tough team.
Listen, I said it the other day and I'll say it again. The Eastern Conference teams are gearing up because they feel like they did not have enough to compete with the Pistons in a series type of situation. So this is what we're seeing right now. These Eastern Conference teams trying to shore up, especially their backcourt with Cade Cunningham at the Pistons helm. You got to be able to go toe for toe in that realm. So you think about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They get rid of Darius Garland at 6'1". They bring in James Harden, MVP of the league, first time probably Hall of Famer when he retires. Sure. He's at 6'5", so you add some height at that position. He's been much maligned, obviously, for his defense. But again, you're bringing a scoring champion, an MVP, to a ball club who was right now out of the top 10 on defense. But just a couple of years ago, they were one of the better teams in that category. So I think if you add Harden and what he could possibly bring to this team, I think you're going to see their defense all of a sudden get inside that top 10, and they could be very good.
I think they'll be good. And, the thing Kenny Atkinson said, look, James Harden has obviously been well-traveled in this league, but he can play, right? He can play.
Absolutely play.
And so as a coach, you sometimes say, do I want to bring in a player like that where he's going to handle some of the coaching, I would think. Not, I won't say he's taking the job from Kenny, but he's going to have an opportunity to kind of get in the ears of some of these guys. Yep. I get Donovan Mitchell and say, hey, man, here's what I found worked in other places, but he's going to need the basketball in his hands too.
I think so too. But I remember when the deal went down with James Harden, went to Brooklyn, and he was paired with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And everyone said, that's not going to work. They don't have enough balls to share between the three of those guys. And I said, James Harden is more of a facilitator than anybody gives him credit for. Here's Donovan Mitchell, star in his own right. To add James Harden to that mix, that 1-2 punch, it's going to be dynamic. This guy has been playing lights out all season long. And then you get Harden, who's going to facilitate offense. Hey, Harden is one of those guys who will say, Donovan, you've got it going. I'm going to find ways to get you the ball even more. At the same time, Harden, a very good facilitator. But if you leave him alone, if you say, Harden, we need you to get 20 out of you tonight, he's more than capable of doing that. So I think this was a good pickup for the Cavaliers. They were kind of spinning their wheels with their current roster. This was a good move for them.
Yeah, and we're going to see these guys basically in short order right after the All-Star break, February 27th. Pistons and Cavaliers circle the calendar. So here's the way it looks right now. Pistons have that 5-game cushion over New York and Boston. Cleveland right there. They feel like they're in contention. Really, everybody feels like they got a shot. Philly, Toronto, the Miami Heat. It's going to be interesting, certainly moving into the second half. I want to talk about tonight's opponent, the Washington Wizards, because there's a lot of people felt like, they're just tanking to put themselves in a position, to rebuild at some point. Well, at some point feels like right now, because they were able to go out and add, obviously, Trae Young earlier before the deadline, and then Anthony Davis to pair with him. And they've got a super talented young nucleus. But they had Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum. So I feel like the Washington Wizards, as of right now, say, hey, while the window's open, this season may be a wash. But next year, we want to be in that playoff discussion.
Yeah, I think if the things just lined up for the Washington Wizards, that fell into place, if you will, to get a guy like Trae Young, and then you acquire Anthony Davis. Both guys are injured right now. So obviously they're not going to win a boatload of games. But in their estimation, that's okay because now they position themselves for a high draft pick in this year's upcoming draft to add to what they already have. Now, they'll have to create some type of culture there with all of the new faces that they have, but they're young. They've got two veterans in Davis and Trae Young who can guide these young players. They want to win, and they want to win right now, and they are positioning themselves to do just that.
Yeah, with Trae Johnson, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, again, that's not the lineup the Pistons will face tonight, but once they are healthy, that's a team that already played the Pistons tough before they've added some of these pieces. So, again, that's a team to watch out for in the Eastern Conference moving forward. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into tonight's starting lineups. Washington will have 10 players available tonight. We'll show you who's in, who's out. We know this man's in as we are 21 minutes to tip off. A couple of sharpshooters, Kevin Huerter and Duncan Robinson, help spacing the floor for the Pistons here tonight. You're watching Pistons Live, presented.
I mean, his game, he's a complete basketball player. He's versatile in the things that he can do. Obviously the ability to make shots, but he has the ability to make plays. He can play the pick and roll. He's an elite cutter, understanding spacing and, just his ability to process the game as a whole. As a person, he's going to fit right in. He's a great dude who understands the situation that he's coming into, and what these guys have already accomplished. So, he's not here to rock the boat by any means, but he's here to help and contribute. And we feel like his skill set can do that.
Red hair, smooth style.
Red velvet.
Red velvet. That goes back to his time playing in Atlanta. Obviously been an impact player wherever he's been, Sacramento, Chicago, and now here in Detroit. So pretty good stuff as Kevin Huerter will join the likes of Duncan Robinson and company as we get to our Hyundai starters. Obviously Duncan's been tasked with carrying a heavy load, shooting it from the perimeter. I see Tobias Harris out here tonight. So Isaiah Stewart moves in to the starting lineup alongside Jalen Duren. You like?
You know what? I do like it a lot. To have an opportunity to put Duncan Robinson on the floor with Huerter at the same time, boy, it just opens up so many driving lanes. And as you heard Coach say, he's also a playmaker as well. So he understands what to do when he gets the ball. If he doesn't have his shot, somebody else can have an opportunity to score. You need those kind of players on the floor.
Yeah, can never have too much shooting. Duncan had 6 made threes in the win over the Nuggets. So because of all the trades, a lot of teams around the NBA kind of have short benches. The Wizards will have 5 guys available off the bench tonight, but again, not very deep, not a ton of scoring production for them, but they do have a good young starting lineup, and it really centers around Alex Sarr. They've got a Sarr, not a Sarr, but they've got a Sarr. 20 years old, second overall pick in last year's draft, bona fide star, 7 feet tall.
And here's the thing. There's an opportunity in front of him. There's an opportunity, quite frankly, in front of a lot of these Washington Wizard players. This is what you're here for. You take advantage of your opportunity. So even though they're going to be shorthanded, these guys are really going to step up and try to show that they're NBA players.
And remember, this was a game last time here, back on November 10th. I'm going to take you there. This game got dicey. Cade Cunningham had a career-high 46 points. He had to work for it, certainly. Took a bunch of shots that night. Danis Jenkins was able to get this game to overtime with a corner three. A beautiful shot. I mean, this is a dicey game for some time. They were able to get to OT. Cade finishes off a 46-point triple-double. They were able to outlast the Washington Wizards here at home. So they've got their full attention here tonight.
Style definitely make fights. And listen, Johnny, no matter what the personnel on this team is right now, they have a memory of how they took the Pistons to task the last time that the two teams met, and that's what they're hanging their hat on tonight.
All right, going to be a good one here tonight. It's the Pistons and Washington Wizards. Ron Holland, we know what he brings to the floor on any given night. And then the idea that Isaiah Stewart's going to get an opportunity to work alongside Jalen Duren tonight gives them a formidable front line. So we'll see how it all shakes out here tonight. You kind of get back to the business at hand. You get back to playing basketball after all the outside noise with all the trade deadline. You eat your grapes. You get hydrated. You get ready to go to work, and Jalen Duren and the boys will do that here tonight. So it's the Pistons and Wizards, the second of 4 scheduled meetings between these two. George and Greg will be up next with the call of this game. As always, you've been watching Pistons Live, which is presented by Hungry Howie's.